We ready? Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016. We're at 7 o'clock. We have a village board meeting followed by a committee of the whole meeting. Our first item is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would ask our finance director, Maureen Potempa, to lead it. She sent me a very disturbing email today from, I believe, some school district in New York City that apparently is eliminating the pledge from their daily activities, and I think that's a horrible thing. So, with that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for sending that to me. Ms. Sherby, would you please call the roll?
Present. Present.
Present.
Present.
Present.
Present. We do have a quorum, and thank you, everybody, for attending this evening. I don't believe we have any presentations, unless I'm in error.
We do not.
We do not. Okay, item number 5, public comments and questions. To give as many visitors as possible an opportunity to speak, and in the interest of adjourning the meeting by 9, please limit your comments to 3 minutes in length unless further time is granted by the board on active or general matters. I see this is one of the few meetings other than last night's meeting with the zoning board where we have a host of guests this evening, and welcome as well. I'm sure you have many questions that are going to be discussed in the committee of the whole. There's also a public participation in that piece as well. So if you have some questions relative to the St. Joe Senior Development, I would ask that we ask them at that particular time. We'll have a little bit more answers, hopefully. But if there are any other types of questions that are not germane to that, please step up, introduce yourself to our clerk, and we'll see what we can do. Anybody? Mr. Ostendorf, welcome once again.
You know, I used to go to board meetings about twice a week.
I don't think the mic's on.
That's it. Never going to do it again. Going to back-to-back board meetings is akin to waterboarding, I think. So, anyway, my name is Bill Ostendorf. I live at 2901.
Mr. Ostendorf, could we ask you to speak a little closer into the microphone then?
Hello?
I just wanted to comment on last night's meeting. I just wish that all of you board members were able to be present last night, but I know there's other reasons not to be here. But the arguments by the public comments were just well-reasoned, well-researched. The presentations, the arguments were very well put. I was really impressed with the questions that the people had asked. One of the things that did bother me, though, was when it became a time for the 2 zoning boards to question the petitioner. You know, it seemed like amateur night. I think I could answer half of those questions myself, but the petitioner, I didn't think he did his due diligence on the thing. He wasn't ready to answer any of the questions. So I would just conform with all the bylaws and everything like that. Yeah, but, you know, but the thing is, I noticed that before the meeting, the petitioner was handing out documents and drawings and pictures and everything like that. You know, as many times as I've been to different villages and different communities, and everything like that. When you submit, when you're a petitioner, you don't submit drawings and pictures at the village board meeting, especially if they're supposed to take a vote that night on it. Those pictures and drawings should be in their hands, at least physically in their hands, 7 days before the meeting, before they have to take a vote on it, and should be in the village hall at least 10 days to allow a few days for distribution. We're talking about several issues here. No easels up or plans on a wall or anything like that. Everybody's shooting for the hip. Nobody knew what the hell they were talking about. It was really embarrassing listening to this thing, you know. So I think maybe we ought to tighten up our procedures, and if you're going to hand stuff out in front of a meeting, you ought to hand it to everybody in the audience, because the plans that are available at the village hall should be the whole package of all the information, and everything should be available to the citizens to come in and review them. Not at and you shouldn't be deprived of any information at the last minute. Those are my comments on that, but I think other than that, it was a good meeting. I was really impressed with the citizenry. I mean, the people that came up to object to the cell tower, and I think they won their argument. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay, not hearing any, I will go down to a public hearing. I don't believe we have any of those.
We do not.
And item number 7, our consent agenda. We have approval of the record of bills ending 2/18/16 in the amount not to exceed $869,941.11.
Sam, I would just say there's a
Accurate?
Scrivener's error. That should be 03/18/16.
Oh, sorry, 03/18/16 in the amount not to exceed $869,914.11. Approval of the minutes of March 8th, Village Board, a handout. March 8th as well, Committee of the Whole, and March 15th, 2016, Special Board Meeting. Item number C, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of a joint purchase requisition for the purchase of rock salt for the Village of Westchester. Was there a dollar amount on that per ton?
There
Or are we
is
still
not.
waiting?
They will send out a bid.
Okay, all righty. Item D, a resolution of a governmental body accepting membership as a member of the Northern Illinois Health Insurance Initiative, NIHII, subpool, which is a member of the Intergovernmental Personal Benefit Cooperative. Item E, a resolution approving change order number 4. I believe we're tabling that,
Yes.
correct? We're extending that
Correct.
to our April, was it 12th?
April 12th.
April 12th. And we'll do we want a separate motion on the table for that, Mike? Or we can just
Yeah, but you're
pass
going to pull it from the consent.
Consent, okay.
right?
We'll pull it from the consent and we'll do it that way. Item F, a resolution authorizing the execution of agreement between the Village of Westchester and Credential Wholesalers for the provision of electronic recycling services. Is there any dollar amount that needs to be added to that as well?
No, there's
No.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Where was it? I lost it, Sam. You had asked a question about it. You just asked Mike a question about it.
The salt?
Yeah, the salt. There's no dollar amount on that?
No, this is
We're bidding on that?
authorization to go to bid
Oh,
through
okay.
Department of Central Management Services.
It's a first state purchase.
Right.
So I think they're going to tell us what the numbers are.
Lovely.
So, okay. We're pulling item number E. Does anyone else need anything else pulled? If not, is there a motion and a second to approve A, B, C, D, and F as presented?
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Tom and Celeste?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Celestino.
Aye.
Trustee Perry.
Aye.
Trustee Rita.
Aye.
Trustee Yorkowicz.
Aye.
Trustee Calcagno.
Aye.
President Pulido.
Aye, motion carries. Item number E, I need a motion and a second to table item number E until April 12th. We received last-minute information from V3, the engineers, that needed a little bit more time in doing a, I want to say forensic audit, but a look-see of all the dollars amount that were spent on the construction phase of Carlisle Street in the village of Westchester. So,
So
a
moved.
motion and
Second.
second to table? Who had the motion? Angela? And Tom? Any discussion at all?
I just
Janet,
wanted-
any comment?
I just wanted to clarify that at our last meeting, we have presented an analysis of the schedule of costs that we had received from V3 engineers related to this project, and had found a few discrepancies in the formulas in the worksheet, which one of them being that they had not subtracted out the dollar amount of change order number 3, which was 27,000 and change. So having conversations with Greg Walterstorff, our engineer on the project, that he had gone back and reviewed them, reviewed the worksheet, and had contacted Berger, and is trying to work with Berger to clarify any of the discrepancies in the quantities that were in that worksheet
Up to date.
to date.
Okay. All right, so there's a motion and a second on the floor to table item number E until our April 12th meeting. Voice vote, Mike?
Yes.
All those in favor of tabling item number E, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition, say no. That will be handled on the April 12th meeting. And as information is gleaned from that, from your investigation,
We'll
please supply that
Communicate that to the board.
as soon as possible. Item number 8 on the active agenda. I believe we are tabling that. Is there a motion, a second, to table a resolution of collective bargaining agreement between the Village of Westchester and the Westchester Professional Firefighters Association Local 4851, International Association of Firefighters, AFL-CIO, CLC, Associated Firefighters of Illinois.
So
Is
moved.
there a motion?
Second.
Frank?
Yep.
And Celeste. All those in favor of tabling item number A under the active agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition, say no. It stands tabled as well. Item number 9 on our agenda is the manager's report. Janet?
Yes, I'm going to keep it very brief tonight due to our time constraints and the number of people here. I just want to let everybody know that our Public Works Department will be off this Friday in observance of the Good Friday holiday, but all other departments will be working 9 to 5 as usual, or 8:30 to 5, I should say, as usual. So, wanted to wish everybody a happy spring.
Great. Thank you. Michael, anything for the order, sir?
No report for this evening.
Board members, Frankie, anything from EDC?
Economic Development did not meet this week, so I have nothing to report.
Celestine, anything?
Just glad
Out
to
there?
see everybody here.
Yeah.
Carl?
The ESC did meet, and I can give you more information as it's on the cow agenda. I can go into detail with that, but everything is fine.
Great, thanks. Angela, anything?
No, just a reminder, April recycling, recycling
April 16th, I believe.
is the first,
April 16th at the Towers. It is a joint West Central Municipal Conference and the Village of Westchester have partnered in that. And then we're going to have one in May, which is our lone one, and I believe we're doing shredding in May.
yeah, for those of you who weren't part of it last year, we did move from behind Village Hall to the towers on Cermak right before the Tri-State there. There'll be signs out on the street directing you to go back to the towers and easy in, easy out. So,
The WCMC is this third Saturday. That was the date we picked.
that's it.
Great. Thank you. Tommy?
I have nothing.
Steve, anything?
Real quick, I'm just right in the middle of my 90-day, first 90 days here at the department, and this plan that I submitted to the board upon being hired, I'm right in the middle of it, staying on schedule, and things are going real well, I'm feeling real comfortable, and with all the officers, so things are going great. That's all I have.
Great. Thank you. Jimmy?
Real quick, last 2 weeks we've been busy. I've been busy with the Police and Fire Commission over 3 nights. We interviewed 62 of 73 firefighter candidates to create our list. We spent a lot of time doing that. On March 13th, I took a pilot program to Cook County Homeland Security. suspicious indicator and recognition assessment for the non-law enforcement people. It was basically information I'm bringing back to my guys to keep their eyes open when we're on calls and in people's houses for any type of indicators of suspicious activity, especially after the Brussels bombings today. It can happen anywhere, so my guys are on heightened alert. I'm sure the police are at all times. Thursday I have a meeting with Triton on the Emergency Services Advisory Board discussing the needs and future planning of the fire and EMS program over at Triton. And in April I'll be attending the Illinois Legislative Day, Fire Legislative Day down in Springfield.
Great. Thank you. Maureen, how are you?
Great, thank you. I just wanted to remind residents that vehicle stickers are on sale currently, and to avoid any late fees, they need to be purchased by April 30th and displayed on your windshield. To avoid long lines, please mail in or purchase online. And I also want to remind you that there is a 24-hour drop box located in the Village Hall lobby for payments such as water bills or vehicle stickers.
Speaking of water bills, have we lined ourselves out with the number of questions that staff has been asked, and the explanation has seemed reasonable to the residents who've called?
Yes, we've spoke with many residents, and we were able to explain that the village had got away from the minimum usage charge of 9,000 gallons per quarter and going monthly. We're charging for actual usage, not before you were being charged for 9,000, whether you used it or not. Now you're paying for just what you use. In place of that, because we have such aging infrastructure, we have a infrastructure charge for the water lines and sewer lines. Basically, that covers the delivery of service to each household. Going with this new structure, it makes it a little more fair to every resident in that they're paying for the service, and then the residents pay for what they use. So we've had some real positive feedback.
Great. Thank you. Gregory.
Yes, unfortunately, I was assisting just before the meeting, so I'm going to pass this out now as a handout as opposed to reading off a bunch of numbers with regards to the debt recovery program. This way you could just look at it at your leisure. It provides you with an updated piece of information as to where we stand financially on that, as much as of today. Please email me with questions you have as this goes along here. On another note, so I won't bore you with numbers this meeting, but on another note, the fire chief, Captain Taylor, myself, met with the Westport Corporate Center last week with regards to a radio upgrade program that's a part of the purchase. The transfer occurred. We're going to be working with them for the next couple of months to try and put together a radio system that's going to effectively assist the fire department in their communication needs within the building so that they can communicate from floor to floor to dispatch, something that they've determined to be a deficiency in their communication abilities within the building. We've done some testing with the police department and have found no difficulties with regard to communication, partially because that's a UHF-based radio versus the VHF that the department are using. So currently, the corporate center put together some pricing and put together some numbers, and we brought in another party, another vendor, to hopefully mitigate or look through what the first vendor proposed to hopefully come up with the best solution between the two. So we should have some more information in the coming weeks, but just letting you know that that process has started. I've provided my input from the knowledge I have of radios and how they relate to the fire department here in town.
Great. Thank you, Greg. Robert.
Public Works has started its seasonal change order from winter to changes from winter to spring. So we've begun our street sweeping. We've begun sewer cleaning, patching for water main breaks, sewer repairs, roadways. We've also begun tree trimming and alley grading, so you may see the crews out there working. We're also in the process of preparing bid packages for the new tree contract, the new roofing contract. As soon as the budget's approved, we would bid that out. an HVAC maintenance contract, and again, if it's approved in the budget, we would bid that out. The emergency street lighting maintenance, we're going to bid that out, and then the 2016 paving program, the resurfacing program in the northeast part of town, we are preparing those specs and plans for that as well.
Great. I'll let you speak about it, but we were at the towers yesterday, Janet, you and myself. You want to inform the rest of the board of what we were doing?
Well, this is World Water Day today, and it's a celebration of water and how precious it is to us as humans, and our need for water. And we were asked by Integridon, I can't
Ingredient.
Ingredient. Yeah, Argo Cornstarch and their corn syrup and Corn Products Corporation. Their world headquarters is here in Westchester, and they employ over 300 people in Tower 5. And we were asked to come and talk about Westchester and the water system. So we spoke about how we get the water and how we treat it and distribute it. And we spoke a lot about the water quality and the water quantity, how much we pump, and then the issues that we're currently facing with our aging infrastructure and water quality issues. And they had lots of questions about Flint, Michigan, and how that compares to us. And I think we were generally well received, and we gave them an overview of our water system and what we're doing to maintain the infrastructure and keep the quality high.
Great.
I just wanted to let people in the back know there are seats up front here. It's kind of like church. If you come late, you have to sit in the front.
Melissa.
Good evening. The only thing I wanted to mention tonight is we had our public hearing. It was the joint public hearing with both the Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals last night for the cell tower at Mayfair Park. It was great to see so many people come out and make comment and give feedback on the proposal. So I'm sure that'll be at upcoming village board meeting coming soon. So that was it.
Sure, be anything, my dear. Nothing? Okay. Under my report, just to dovetail a little bit on what Melissa was speaking about, we did have the hearings last night for the Zoning Board of Appeals and also the Plan Commission. After all the testimony was heard, there was some questioning of the petitioners who were interested in installing the tower in Mayfair Park. At the end of the day, each one of those boards unanimously indicated that they would not recommend that it be constructed, and I believe there'll be a date when that vote and information will come before this board, and it'll be our responsibility to take it from there. Both of those boards are recommending bodies. There was a piece of the Zoning Board of Appeals for fencing and some other recommendation pieces, and the Plan Commission as well. It was a spirited debate. I have to agree with Mr. Ostendorf. If I was going to do a presentation, I would have had a lot more documentation available to the public as the petitioner, and probably a lot more comments relative to what may be at other locations and the whys and the wherefore or whatever. There was probably about 25 people, I believe, that spoke. I think only one indicated that he was for the tower of all the citizens that were there. It was very respectful, to be quite honest with you, which I would expect from the residents of Westchester, no matter what the topic is. We're all respective of everyone's opinions, and it went as well as can be. So, with that, I would imagine that sometime in the near future, the recommendations for those committees, after the information is typed up, will be supplied to us and will be placed on our agenda as well for final determination. Now, depending on what this board does, if it's they accept the recommendation and that doesn't go to be constructed as a special use, you know, there's always a potential court challenge. So I just want to let you know that that may be out there. Based on the research that I had done and supplied the information to some of the people that were here, a number of communities have had similar situations and denials, and I haven't heard of any lawsuits from them as well. So, I know our police department, it leaves them a little bit out of the lurch. They do have a communication situation there. There was some thoughts regarding maybe a different carrier. I'm sure there was some information that the board's going to hear that wasn't expounded on last night as far as the RFP from the central management services that we're tied into for the communication through Verizon as the carrier. And, you know, maybe there is some alternate locations that need to be looked at, or some alternate equipment that could enhance the police department, because at the end of the day, you want everybody to get in on the 911 calls and service to the village and service in between themselves. And certainly, we don't want anyone to have an issue in an emergent situation that we fall short because of communication. So, with that being said, I'm sure that information is going to come to us, and we'll make some decisions and move on from there, and whatever happens after that. So, with that, I don't believe there's going to be a collective bargaining or employment thing for executive session. Is there a need? Anyone see a need? Anything? No? Yes? Maybe? No. Okay. So that being the case, we can eliminate A and B in executive session that we would have after our committee of the whole anyway. If there's nothing else for the good of the order, is there a motion and a second to adjourn the board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Frank and Celeste, all those in favor of adjourning the board meeting at, was it 7:29 p.m., say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition, say no.